How to make the change to a mostly whole food plant-based diet. Usually when I have patients come in, they'll be asking, how can I get rid of my cholesterol medicine? Or I'm tired of taking so many pills, can you help me? And yeah, if you have to figure it out, it's analyzing what got you to that point in the beginning. And it's usually lack of activity, no relaxation practice, and then the standard American diet. All those things add to obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetes. It's a bad cycle of events that happens. The problem is, if you have no training in nutrition and you don't like reading books, how are you supposed to learn what to eat? It's not just watching part of the 10-minute video that somebody filmed about Lauren Cordain's paleo diet, or watching an excerpt from the Acid Alkali or the Eat for Your Blood Type diet or Dean Ornish's diet. It's not just picking and choosing what you want to read. You really have to read those authors cover to cover to understand the nuances of how they came up with their diet practice. It's a nutrition practice, really. So there's no shortcut. You have to read. If you don't want to read, fine. You have to invest in a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. There are some very good nutritionists out there. I had a firefighter that came in today, obese, depressed, had cholesterol problems, erection problems, pre-diabetes, and he was pretty frustrated and probably about to lose his job. But he told me, after I told him about changing to a mostly whole food plant-based diet, he said, well, I'm a meat eater. And I was trying to tell him that you're going to die of meat-eating disease too, but I didn't do that. I tried to empower him, so I was thinking about how to, again, everybody needs to have a different design for what they have to do, and I tried to formulate something with him. Threat incentive only works for about a month to 3 months, and then after that, there's no threat, or if nobody sees me, then your priorities for maintaining a well-balanced diet, good activity, and relaxation practice kind of go as on the bottom of the totem pole. So one of the best things I can do is I suggest that if you can't afford a registered dietitian and you don't like reading books cover to cover, well, try to learn as best as you can, but you can try to wedge in fruits and vegetables. The beauty in Chicago at springtime is that you'll see a bounty of fruits and vegetables start to stock the shelves of Whole Foods, Fruitful Yield, Jewel-Osco, Mariano's, and that's nice because you have a selection. You don't have to learn to cook with fruits and vegetables. You actually have portable meals. These are like what I term meals ready to eat, because you can keep it anywhere in your car. If you're running behind, you peel it open, you eat it, and your belly's happy. Your brain's not hunting for food by the time you pass the third McDonald's on your way home, so you'll be a little more calm to get home and eat properly with something you've planned. It always takes planning. Saturday and Sunday you should start planning, going to the grocery store, and then cook a couple of pre-meals so that you can kind of divvy it up, especially with regards to whole grains. But if you can't do that, or it's too much of a problem, then sometimes you can get juicers. The only problem with a juicer is that most of them, you toss out the fiber. My teacher, Andy Weil, once said, when you juice or take the fructose out of certain fruits, it's a lot of fluid, a lot of water. If you throw away the fiber, you have almost pure fructose with no fiber. Unfortunately, that changes your thing called the glycemic index to being very high. If you drink that, it'll almost, it's healthier with less byproducts and chemicals, but it will make your sugar go up fast. If you keep the fiber in, then you might be able to, like in a blender, you might be able to keep that the glycemic index totals, which is the glycemic load, down, so that it slowly releases the sugar, carbohydrates into the bloodstream, so you don't have this insulin dump from the pancreas. It's healthier that way. So one task I have my patients do, like my firefighter, is if you can't change around what you're eating, the guys at the fire station don't want to change and they're grilling steaks all the time. Try to get your own stuff, fruits and vegetables, harvest anything that's available that you might like with regards to color, and then wedge in about 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables a day. That's a lot of work. That's 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. So you'll find yourself constantly eating, almost grazing, but the idea is if you do enough wedging, you won't have any room for the crappy food. And even if you did have room, you'd feel so full that it tells the brain, there's no more room, stop eating that steak. And that'll make you or force you to stop. You'll have a little taste, but you won't eat the volume. Eventually, once you have that, you're going to have more of the positive effects of these anti-inflammatory foods in your system, less of the omega-6 stuff from the crappy food. Your body will start to feel better, your gut will start to work better, your sleep will be deeper, your acne will clear up, your asthma will go away, your infections will go away faster, and then you want to get more fruits and vegetables, a mostly clean and green diet. You'll start to hunt for that stuff, and you'll start to appreciate it. You'll be able to actually work out more. The first time I ever saw this amazing turnaround was with my mixed martial artists. There's a Matt Danzig that used to be on Tap Out's TV show, and he was a vegetarian, but a well-established mixed martial artist. And then there's also another mixed martial artist I saw, and he was going for a fight about 2 to 3 weeks out. He had a whole bounty, a whole table full of fruits and vegetables. And I was wondering, wow, that's impressive that these guys, although you see that they're nice and tough, they eat mostly whole food, plant-based diet, because they know performance is all dependent on what you eat. Going in the ring 110% for 3 to 5 minutes, you'll run out of gas, and when you eat properly, you know that you'll at least give every muscle, every cell in your body the building blocks it needs to make that 3 to 5 minutes. So the objective would be, if you can't fit the wedge, the 5 to 9 fruits and vegetable servings, you can try to juice, or try to blend if you can. Blending would probably be better. Can't do that, you can always mix in some protein powder like I described in my ideas about how to use protein as a supplement, especially after you eat. Most of the time I would at least embrace the fact that if you work out, try to get your best meal, the cleanest and greenest part of your meal, of your day, right after you work out. My guys who do the protein drinks and then go off to McDonald's or White Castle within 2 or 3 hours because they had a great exercise routine, or they start to down beer because they feel great, you just destroyed your recovery, the recovery for their muscles that you worked out hard for. So try to give them the building blocks, and you might not even need the protein supplement, just because you have everything your muscles need after a good workout to recover, rebuild, and be ready for the next time. And then a good sleep is always important. Relaxation practice is always important. So the idea again would be that if you can't get these things into your system, into your nutrition practice, then try to juice. If you can't get a juicer, you don't have time to juice, that's a problem. You've got to plan this stuff. Then you might want to read some books. If you read books on, say, the paleo diet, Lauren Cordain's book, or the Ornish diet, or the hormone diet, or the pH diet, whatever you decide, you have to read the book cover to cover. You can't just watch a 5-minute video or a portion of a 5-minute video and say, I get it, I kind of figured it out. That's not the way it works. You have to see how the authors that came up with these diets planned the ins and outs, the failures, the comebacks, the plateaus, what to do in case of plateau after a certain while, how to use water. The concept is, if you understand the concept, you'll be able to make that kind of change and hold the change more sustainable for a longer amount of time. If you just watch a little excerpt, you're probably going to fail. And this is supposed to be a lifetime. If you really want to get off medicines, if you want to push back that mountain of the disease that's coming, most diseases will come in the United States as being either a heart attack, a stroke, or cancer. And if you're lucky enough, you have it when you're 80 years old. If you're unlucky and you're on a standard American diet with no exercise and no relaxation practice, the mountain is coming closer and faster. So the idea is you don't want to be surprised by that when you're 50 or 60 and you want to retire. And technically you probably won't die. You'll probably be maimed or disabled. And then good luck with Medicare or disability, because you'll be feeling lousy. You'll have to go to emergency rooms and live that way. It's not a great life. So the idea is to get ahead of the problem. That means kind of living life healthy when you're in your 30s, cruising when you're in your 50s, and enjoying life being productive. I'm not talking about a 70-year-old U.S. Retiree that's in a nursing home on oxygen. I'm talking about a productive European that's 100 years of age and still working and still sharing and still communing with friends and family. So you can do it, but it does mean you have to get rid of the standard American diet, standard American way. Skimping on sleep doesn't work. Not doing any exercise or saving it for one day a week, well, I'd rather have you do little bits throughout the week. You choosing standard exercises that you used to do in high school, no, you got to get a coach. This is why it's so important to get either a personal trainer, an exercise physiologist, a physical therapist, or a sports medicine doctor. You got to get somebody, even a yoga therapist, Tai Chi instructor. Somebody has to help you design these things, tell you what you're doing wrong. Fitbits are great, but if you don't have somebody telling you, well, your gait's off, try leaning into your weightlifting, don't curl your arms so much, watch your shoulders when you're lifting. That'll be what the ticket to get you to more sustainable, injury-free exercise. Same thing with the diet. If you don't know what to do, you don't like reading books, hire somebody. Registered dietitian, nutritionist. Yes, they're a lot of money. I had a firefighter that came in and said he couldn't go to the person that I suggested because it cost about $300 to $500 for an initial visit. You get what you pay for. You want to have sustainable changes. That person will be able to make sustainable changes with you and get you past the 3-month mark. I usually say get past 3 months, float for another 3 months, and then you're usually golden, because if you get it that far out and you maintain it, most of the time your body will adapt that and love what you do, and it'll be easy to continue on after that. So if you skimp and watch videos, that's up to you, but I think investing now would be much cheaper than investing later on in the medicines that you're going to take, the surgeries that you're going to need, or the disabilities you're going to pay for because you can't afford taking your medicines or can't afford getting these registered dietitians, these coaches, relaxation coach in the form of psychology, a Reiki therapist, massage therapist, Tai Chi instructor, anybody that really teaches how to bring down or ground so that you're ready for the challenges of the change. This doesn't happen easy. It takes a lot of effort, but I think that if you plan properly, your efforts will be rewarded with something that's very sustainable. And you might not have to follow with what I suggest. I like martial arts, I like cardio, I like weight training, resistance, I like yoga, I like hiking, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. Everybody has their own nuances that they love. That's why I like to kind of, if you see my lecture, and I'll put the link to the slides to the lecture, I like to embrace what you guys have done in the past, what my patients have done in the past, again, to make it sustainable. That doesn't mean doing the exercises that we learned back in gym class. That might mean that we do a little bit outside the box experimenting. And again, coaches will help you get there faster. If you do have a deficiency or can't get proper food, then you might need supplementation. But again, that's I would usually use evidence-based medicine to figure out which supplements are the best ones for you. I have patients that come in with lists of supplements, and I have a problem trying to figure out which supplement is good. So I have to go back to, I have to say, pull back, wait a second, what are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? Let's chop this down. Otherwise, if you have the whole list and you make that change in life and you're successful with making the change, the question is, all right, now that you made the change, which ones do you continue? Which ones are the reason for the change? You'll have to say all of them, so you're going to be continuing with that heavy list, expensive list for a long time. So really it takes an integrative medicine doctor, I think, to help pick and choose your fights. So if you pick and choose which supplements are the most deficient, highest likelihood for deficiency, which foods will be more sustainable for you, which are more important for your disease process you're trying to deal with. Fiber is important for cholesterol lowering. Omega-3 fish oil important for cholesterol lowering. Sometimes omega-3 fish oil also important for, at a different dose and different percentages, for depression if you have that. Certain supplements will help more for sleep. Certain supplements will help more for wakefulness. Certain supplements will help more for taking care of the arthritis or the knee problems that happens when you try to get back into some water aerobics activity. So seek out a registered dietitian for coaching on nutrition. Seek out an exercise physiologist or a physical therapist for coaching on activity. Seek out a meditation coach, a counselor, a psychologist for developing some form of relaxation practice. And if you can't get to that, then you try to find one of my fellow friends and over at the Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine, as far as an integrative medicine doctor, to kind of control where you are with this and help you make it past those little speed bumps that you might be hitting.